Hi, everybody. It's Candice again with Tubby and Coos. And today is Monday. It feels like it's been 400 years since the last time I did book recommendations. For some reason, this last week went by very slowly, but I am here again to give you some book recommendations. I will be here every Monday at noon giving recommendations and different themes. So today's theme is witchy books. So witchy vibes, witchy books. I'm going to talk about some nonfiction witch books with you. We embrace our witchiness at Tubby and Coos and believe in the universe and in witchy vibes. So today I'm going to share with you some of my personal favorite witchy books. So for all of my fellow witches out there, hello, I see you. And I think these books will be really helpful for beginners as well as for people who have been practicing for a while. So here we go. Here are some of my favorite recent witchy books. So the first book I want to talk about, I think, is very appropriate for our current times, and it is called Light Magic for Dark Times by Lisa Marie Basile. And in this book, it kind of gives a lot of rituals for self-care and for healing from grief, for finding strength, to welcome new beginnings, to protect loved ones. These are all things that I feel like we all really need right now. So I am really loving this book and really digging into it these days. And so in this book, it provides 100 different spells and rituals, and it's ideal for inexperienced people as well as experienced people. Almost anybody can do the rituals in this book. And it's meant to power up your inner witch and help map your road toward healing and regeneration and finding your creativity and exploring your shadow side, all of those things. So these can be cast mostly during a crisis or to help recover from a crisis. It is trauma informed, which I really like, and that helps me a lot. So there are things in here from there's a spell to banish recurring nightmares. There's a graveyard meditation for engaging with death. There's a mermaid ritual in the bath for going with the flow. There's a spell to recharge after social justice and activist work. There's a lot of different kinds of spells in here to help with a lot of different things in your life. So I think whether you're looking to work with the earth or perform a cleanse with water or smoke, or use crystals and make healing tinctures or meditate, I think this has something for everyone. I've been really enjoying it, and I really recommend this book. So again, oops, I'm hitting my microphone. This is Light Magic for Dark Times by Lisa Marie Basile. The next one I want to recommend is a book called Spellcrafting by Arin Murphy-Hiscock. This author, has written a lot of books. So you probably have read at least one of her books. So she wrote The Witch's Book of Self-Care, which is really good, The House Witch, The Green Witch. So she's written a bunch of things. This one is a newer one that she wrote called Spellcrafting. And in this one, it's about crafting your own magic and your own spells. It's a comprehensive guide to creating, customizing, and casting unique spells and charms and potions. So it's all about making your own magic and writing your own spells and timing them for best effect. And working with different types of intentions and ingredients and things like that. So another good thing is that, so of course this is good for beginners, but also the book goes sort of beyond that, and it takes you into exploring how and why your magic works and what you can do to strengthen and improve it, and how to troubleshoot when things aren't going the way that you want them to go. And so it really helps with taking your magic into your own hands and, how to create a completely personalized spell or ritual, if you want to call it that, I know some people have weird things with the word spell, like, it's like witches from TV, and that's of course not what it is. So if you want to call it a ritual, that's fine. But spells, rituals, whatever you want to call them, this book, Spellcrafting, helps you create your own magic and helps you to really not just create it on a basic level, but explore how it works, explore your inner intentions, explore how to strengthen your connections with the universe. And that's what I really like about this book. So again, that's Spellcrafting by Arin Murphy-Hiscock. Next book I want to talk about is Revolutionary Witchcraft by Sarah Lyons. And I really like this book as someone who is both a witch and an activist. I think it's pretty cool. So this book is an intersectional guide for witches and activists, either or both. And it's really an introduction to the history and practice of politically motivated witchcraft, which I think is pretty cool. So it goes over the origins of the word witch, which are very politically charged, and all the way to present day magical resistance, and explores the role of witchcraft in the modern world. And the author is also an activist. And so she takes you kind of on this journey through this leftist history of magic. So from witch hunts and the Salem witch trials all the way up into our present moment. And, she goes through sigil magic and soul flight and core organizing tactics like power mapping and protests and things like that. She sort of puts these together and offers a blueprint for building a politically grounded magical praxis. And this book really spoke to me because all of these things are really important to me. So, she goes over everything from social justice to environmental activism and this reimagining of political activism through these empowering rituals and magical actions and things that you can do. And, there's not only, of course, there's spells and things like rituals and things like that in here, but there are also actionable ideas for magical organizing and what to do. And there's an appendix with all these customizable spells and, how to join the revolution as a magical person. So I really enjoyed this book. It is the perfect companion, I think, for a magical uprising, which in my opinion, we need right now. So again, this is Revolutionary Witchcraft by Sarah Lyons. The next book I'm going to talk about is called Initiated by Amanda Yates Garcia. And Amanda actually has a podcast as well. So if you haven't listened to that, I recommend it. Her podcast is really good. And it's called, I believe, Strange Magic. And it's a really great podcast. Anyway, Initiated is Amanda's memoir about being a witch and her life as a witch and what initiation means, which I think to different types of witchy people, initiations mean different things. So Amanda Yates Garcia talks about traditional Wiccan and how traditional Wiccan initiates are typically brought through a ceremony and a high priestess and things like that. And, non-traditional people may not do a full initiation like traditional Wiccans do. So Amanda explores all of this in her memoir as it relates to her life. And her mother was a practicing witch and initiated her into the earth-centered practice of witchcraft when she was about 13. And her real life as a witch really only began after she went through a bunch of sort of spontaneous initiations on her own. And so this book chronicles her journey through witchcraft and everything from poverty to sex work, misogyny. It just chronicles her journey and her return to her body and harnessing her power and creating the world she's really longed for through witchcraft. So this is a really good one as well. And she really also explores like declaring yourself a witch and practicing magic. And what does that mean? And really it has to do with claiming authority and power for yourself and taking back our planet and having radical love for our planet and for each other. And I really enjoyed this book as well and her journey through all of these things. So if you're interested in that, again, it's called Initiated by Amanda Yates Garcia. I have two more for you. The next one I want to talk about is called Becoming Dangerous, Witchy Femmes, Queer Conjurers, and Magical Rebels. And this one was edited by Katie West and Jasmine Elliott. And this book is a book of essays by a bunch of different people. Not all of them are witches. Some identify as witches, but others are writers, musicians, game developers, even artists. So all different kinds of people wrote essays for this book. And they are deeply personal essays. There's 21 of them in this book, and they come from a wide variety of people. What they all have in common, though, is that all of these people have created personal rituals to summon their own power in a world that would prefer them to be powerless. So these are all people who come from different types of backgrounds where society really, doesn't want to see them in power, doesn't want to see them even exist in some cases. And so these people have created their own personal rituals to take back that power and to grab power in a world that doesn't want them to have any. So this is a really interesting essay collection as well. These people share these rituals that they've created, and it's everything from resisting self-doubt to grief to depression in the face of sexism, slut shaming, racism, patriarchy, a bunch of different systems of oppression. It's all in here. And this is a really, really good book of essays as well. So if you are someone who feels powerless in this world, I think this is something that's good, and it will give you rituals that will help you to reclaim your power. So Becoming Dangerous, Witchy Femmes, Queer Conjurers, and Magical Rebels, edited by Katie West and Jasmine Elliott. The last book that I'm going to recommend for you today is a book called Queer Magic, LGBT plus Spirituality and Culture from Around the World by Tomas Prower. And this book really, it explores queer folks throughout history and how significant our presence is throughout history, right? So it's really been erased in a lot of cases. And so Tomas comes through and really shows what the presence is. And, really it's kind of nourishment for your queer witchy soul, honestly. So it's all about you can learn about the presence and influence of queer folks throughout history and insights into queer relationships and spiritual practices from different regions of the world, which was really interesting to me. So you can learn about deities, heroes, historical figures, mythological figures who embody the power of the queer spirit all around the world. And discovering these contributions from even contemporary, queer pagans, Catholics, Buddhists, Muslims, all different kinds of people. And they share their personal stories and experiences, but they also share spells and prayers and meditations from their own practices. So this just brings together lots of queer magical folk from all across the world and sharing their own experiences and their own magic, which I think is really powerful and really cool. And there's a lot of practical suggestions in here as well, and a lot of enlightening perspectives. And I really think this book is a unique resource for spiritual seekers who are queer, who are part of this community, who want to experience this energy and strength of the worldwide queer community and rediscover these stories and histories that have been erased. So again, Queer Magic by Tomas Prower is really good for the queer witchy people as well. So those are all of the books that I recommend for witchy nonfiction. I hope that you saw something that might interest you here. And I'm going to go ahead and share. You can buy any book that I recommend on Bookstream here at our bookshop site, bookshop.org. And if you go to our website, there's a list there called Bookstream Recommendations. And any book that I recommend on here, I'm adding to that list. So if you go to our bookshop site and check out our Bookstream recommendations list, all of the books that I mentioned today are on there, and all of the books that I've mentioned in the past are on there as well. So check out our bookshop site. Clearly, I'm providing this content because I want people, to learn about books, to learn about things that you may not have known about, to broaden your perspectives and broaden your horizons and learn and grow. And of course, also, I want the bookstore to survive this weird, uncertain time. So please buy books. It is the best way to support us, or buy a gift card, which is even better way to support us. And check out our bookshop site and our website, which is tubbyandcoos.com. We have all of our events are on there as well. Everything that's coming up is on our calendar on the website. So check that out. Buy books. I hope you're enjoying my recommendations, and I will see you on Wednesday to talk about all of the new books that are coming out this week. I decided to curate that list a little bit more so that the video is a bit shorter. So I won't have as many as I had last week, because there's so many books that come out every week that are just really great and I'm excited about. But I'm going to try to keep that list a little bit shorter. So join me on Wednesday at noon for what is new this week. And until then, have a great day. See y'all soon.